Welcome back. Meta grabbing another big name in its AI hiring blitz, reportedly poaching a key Apple AI researcher for tens of millions of dollars. Deirdre Bosa looks at how that's stacking up in today's tech. Tens of millions, Deirdre. Thought we were at, 100, 200 plus.
And that's at the lower end. Exactly. Tens of millions is nothing compared to, 100 or $300 million packages. But really, for Meta, the question now isn't whether Zuckerberg can outspend the field. We know he can, and he is. The question is whether Meta has a clear sense of what it's building and to what end. Where's the strategy here? Now, Zuck's poach count, it is somewhere in the teens at least. But here's a glance at some of the highest profile names. You've got Alexander Wang from Scale AI, Nat Friedman, Daniel Gross, and now the latest is Roming Pang from Apple, a name that most people outside the model community, they haven't heard of, but a source tells me was probably the top guy at Apple. Now, Zuckerberg, as Kelly said, reportedly paid tens of millions of dollars for him, not hundreds, like for some other recent recruits. But taken all together, Zuckerberg's hiring spree has encompassed researchers, operators, founders, PhDs, and some of the new hires are now outranking some of the most decorated names in AI that were already at Meta. For investors, it's worth asking, is this the beginning of a coherent AI strategy, or is it second system effect? That's a pattern where after a successful first build, teams overreach on the next. They add too much, they try to solve everything, and they end up losing the focus that made the original work. In this case, it would have been Llama, which Meta was, developed and was open source. So the numbers for investors, they are certainly adding up. It's spending more in CapEx as a percentage of revenue than even the hyperscalers. We've showed you this before, but it remains just remarkable, Kelly. You've also got stock-based compensation, which has tripled. Free cash flow per employee has fallen 30%. So in other words, labor productivity is shrinking fast, and return on investment is still an open question. Kelly, Wall Street estimates the spending on talent somewhere between $1 billion and more than $4 billion. That is a lot of money.
Although that's much
but maybe
cheaper.
Not for Meta.
Well, it's cheaper than an acquisition, which is a point many people have made. If they could even get an acquisition done, it would be way more expensive than that. Yeah. Plus, this has the added benefit of undermining all of these competitors. Look at Apple, right? We're constantly bemoaning what's happening or not happening on the AI front, and here comes their big person over to Meta.
Right. And for Apple, right, this is way more consequential because it doesn't have the same kind of bench that OpenAI or Google or Anthropic have, right? They're AI researchers. And Peng, the latest that was taken, he came from Google. I mean, he is legit. He may not be a superstar at the level of an Alexander Wang or an Ilya Sutskever, but still, he was a really important researcher that Apple had on its team leading its foundational model development on device too. So it's a big loss for Apple to lose some of these people, especially because the bench is seen as being pretty shallow.
Right, exactly. Deirdre, thanks for now. We appreciate it. Deirdre Bosa.